Intro. My name is Ivan Dovhanyuk. I used to work for the forestry service, living near the village of Varakta in the Ukrainian Carpathians. This is the first time I'm telling this story. Over 20 years have passed since I saw something that changed my life forever. If you think UFOs are just fiction, wait until you hear what happened in the Carpathian Mountains in 2002. Part 1. That night. It was September. A warm, calm autumn. I was on solo duty at the forestry cabin, something I was used to. The cabin had a wood stove, a kerosene lamp, and an old radio. Around 2 a.m. I woke up to a strange sound. It wasn't a motor or a rumble. It was more like a deep hum, like a powerful electric current humming through the trees. I stepped out onto the porch and saw something above the treetops. It wasn't flying. It was hovering. Maybe 300 meters away. It was triangular in shape with rounded edges. 3 soft, yellow-white lights glowed beneath it. At first I thought I was imagining things. But then the object vanished, in a split second. Just blinked out of sight. And I knew, that thing wasn't from here. Part 2, the aftermath. The next morning I walked to where I thought the object had hovered. The ground was scorched. Moss had withered. Pine needles had turned yellow, though autumn hadn't fully started. Stranger still, my compass broke. The needles spun uncontrollably. My radio, fully charged the night before, stopped working. And then the dreams began. Every night, the same vision. A tunnel of light, a presence that didn't speak in words, but I understood it. It was calling me. Part 3, missing time. On the 3rd day of my watch, I was supposed to receive a check-in from the district office. But when I came back, people said I had disappeared for 8 hours. To me, it felt like a normal day. I'd walked the woods, cooked my dinner, kept the fire going. But no one could reach me. My signal was gone. They were searching for me. When I returned, they found strange markings on my back, 3 straight lines like burns. I felt no pain. But after that, the headaches began. My blood pressure changed. My memory wasn't the same. Part 4. Others saw it too. I kept quiet about it for years. Until one day at my nephew's wedding, a neighbor from a nearby village mentioned seeing something weird in the sky. I asked him, when? He said, September. Middle of the night. Hovering lights over the forest. Then more stories came out. An old woman said her milk kept souring every night that fall. Cows refused to enter the woods. People whispered, but no one dared to speak loudly. Part 5. Official silence. I tried contacting the military emergency services. Every response was the same. There was nothing unusual. No flights. No anomalies. But I know better. Men in civilian clothes came to the forest weeks later. They took notes, asked about meteorological disturbances, wrote down coordinates. They were looking for something. But they weren't talking. In these mountains we don't have much tech, but we have eyes. People saw what happened. Part 6, the second visit. 5 years later, in 2007, it happened again. I was at home this time. Suddenly I felt a deep chill throughout my body. Everything went still. And I lost 3 hours. I came to in bed. The moonlight was shining through the window. But inside I felt peace. Like something had been completed. Like the contact was over. Like I had received something. Not words. Not visions. Just a sense of knowing. Conclusion. I don't have the kind of proof that TV people want. But I have scars. A broken compass. A dead patch of forest. And most of all, I have memories that don't fade. Why did I stay silent for 20 years? Because I was afraid. Because people laugh. But the time for silence is over. This isn't just a story about flying triangles. It's a story about consciousness. About how contact with the unknown changes you. If you listen closely, maybe you'll remember something too. Part 7. The voice that wasn't a voice. I never told anyone this part before. About a month after the second visit, I was sitting on the porch of my home around 11 p.m. The night was still. Too still. I felt something shift inside me, like a quiet pull. And then, I heard something. Not with my ears, but deep inside. A phrase. A message. But it wasn't in any language I knew. I couldn't write it down, but I understood it perfectly. You have been seen. You have been changed. What was begun, will return. The moment passed. But it left a strange calm. Like a weight and a comfort at the same time. Part 8. The map in my mind. Over the next few weeks I started drawing things. I've never been much of an artist. But I couldn't stop sketching, lines, symbols, shapes that looked like topographical maps. One night I realized something disturbing. The layout I kept drawing matched part of the forest. A very old part with no clear paths. There's an area we call the Hollow. Locals avoid it. They say their grandparents warned them, never go there after dark. I packed my old gear, compass, knife, sketchbook, and I went. Part 9, the Hollow. It was colder than it should have been, and silent. Even the birds avoided it. At the center of the hollow I found a tree, completely dead but standing. At its base, stones were arranged in a shape that matched one of the drawings I'd made weeks before. And just for a second, only a second, I saw a light pulse beneath the stones. Faint. Like a heartbeat. I don't remember walking home. But I woke up in my bed, covered in forest soil. My boots were wet. I had scratches on my palms. And another line appeared on my back. Part 10. Who else knows? I started researching. Not on the internet. I don't trust it. I went to old libraries, rural records, university archives. I found something in an old Carpathian folktale collection from the 19th century. A story about the Watchers in the Hills. It talked about triangles of silent fire, and those who vanish and return with new eyes. And I found two more. One from 1974 and one from 1959. Both forestry workers. Both in the same region. Both with missing time. One of them disappeared for good. I tried to find his family. No one talks. One woman hung up as soon as I mentioned the name. Part 11, Physical Changes. After the second visit, doctors noticed unusual things in my body. Slight shifts in my internal temperature regulation. My vision improved slightly but not in a natural way. Colors seemed deeper. I could see flickering lights others couldn't. An MRI once showed a small cluster in my brain, a node they couldn't explain. Benign anomaly, they called it. But I think it's more than that. I feel it activate sometimes. It's not pain. It's buzzing. Like a connection. Part 12, Signals in the Static. In 2015, I bought an old Soviet-era radio. Just to tinker. One night, while scanning dead frequencies, I heard a burst of static followed by 3 tones. Exactly like the ones I'd hear in my dreams. Every month, like clockwork, same signal. Same tones. Then silence. I tried recording it. But no recording ever caught it. Only I could hear it live. Sometimes I wonder, is it calling me? Or is it watching to see if I'll answer? Part 13, The Fear That Comes at Night. People often ask me if I was afraid. I wasn't, not during the encounters. But the fear came after. It came when I realized, this wasn't a one-time thing. That something or someone had chosen to stay connected. To observe. To wait. Some nights I wake up and the room feels too quiet. My shadow looks wrong. The corners of the room feel closer. I never feel alone anymore. Not really. Part 14. A warning or a gift. Over time I started to wonder, is this all a warning? The forest is changing. Weather patterns are strange. Animals behave differently. I've noticed lights in the sky more frequently, always silent, always watching. What if this contact wasn't about me, but about us? What if they're not just here to observe, but to prepare us? For what? I don't know. Closing message for YouTube outro. You don't have to believe me. But I know someone out there is listening. Maybe you've had a dream you can't explain. A moment of missing time. A scar you never noticed before. If you remember anything, speak. Because this story isn't just mine anymore. Part 15, The Old Man in the Mountains. Before all this happened, there was a man who lived higher up the range, closer to the treeline than any sane person would choose. We called him Old Petro. He had no family, no phone, no reason to be there. Just goats, books, and stories. Most thought he was mad. I remembered something he once told me back in '97 when I brought him supplies. The sky can open like bark from a dead tree. You ever see a wound heal backward? That's how they come. Not from above, but from behind. I never forgot it. Not really. But only after the second encounter did it start making sense. I tried to visit him. Hiked up the old logging trail, past overgrown switchbacks and landslides. His hut was still there, but empty. Half-rotten. Nature had reclaimed most of it. Inside I found carvings, symbols etched into the beams with a hunting knife. Circles within circles. A triangle with a slit down the center. And on the wall, scratched in charcoal, they remember who remembers them. Part 16, The Hidden Diary. Back in town, I spent a week at the district library. Not looking for aliens, just answers. Something old. Something forgotten. I dug through archives, weather logs, fire reports, deer migration data. And there, tucked between 2 census books, was a leather-bound notebook with brittle pages and smudged ink. No catalog number. No barcode. A forester named S. Boychuk kept it in the early 1950s. He wrote about strange sounds, animal behavior, and lights that float without engines. One entry chilled me. September 16, 1952. Triangle returned. Same spot. Same lights. Standing heat. No wind. Trees lean away. And always, that feeling someone is inside your thoughts. The last page had a rough sketch of our mountain range. One peak was circled, Mount Drahabrat. Below it, one sentence. For those who remember, the fire never left. Part 17, The Black Forest. Locals whisper about a patch of woods called Korna Lisitzia, the Black Vixen Forest. The name came from an old tale, a fox that would lead hunters into the dark and vanish. No trails led there. GPS showed it as empty terrain. But I followed my maps, the ones I'd been drawing without knowing why. When I stepped into that place, everything changed. Sounds dulled. Colors faded. I could hear my own heartbeat but nothing else. Then I saw it, a figure standing between two gnarled trees. Not moving. Not breathing. Cloaked in shadow though no shadow was cast. I blinked. It was gone. But for the next 30 minutes I felt disoriented, like time bent sideways. I couldn't walk straight. I found moss growing upside down on trees. Gravity didn't feel constant. When I left, the sun had shifted too far. My watch was frozen at 14:03. Part 18. Loss and isolation. The more I dug, the more people avoided me. My nephew Marco, he was the one who first joked I should write a book. He helped me document some of my drawings, even took drone footage of the hollow. Then one morning he vanished. He told his girlfriend he was going out to film fog rising over the ridge. That was 2 years ago. His car was found near the tree line. Locked. Equipment still inside. Battery drained. No tracks. Police found nothing. No clues. Not even prints. And everyone, neighbors, friends, started pulling away. I was that forest guy. Some blamed me. Others said nothing but wouldn't look me in the eye. I was alone. But I wasn't afraid. Because I knew, the ones who vanish are not always lost. Some are taken. And some return. Part 19. The Language of the Stones. I once read that ancient people carved meaning into stone not to be remembered, but to remember. Near the old shepherd path to Haverla's western ridge, I found something unnatural. Not big. Just wrong. A ring of standing stones about knee-high. Covered in lichen. Looked like nothing at first. But then I ran my fingers along the grooves, and they felt warm. Not sun-warmed. Internally warm. Like breath under skin. Symbols covered them. Some looked like glagolitic script. Others, pure geometry. I didn't understand them, but I felt them. A vibration deep in the chest. Like recognition. Like something old waking up. That night I couldn't sleep. I dreamt in patterns. Woke up sketching without thinking. It wasn't memory. It was transmission. Part 20. Beneath the Stone. A week after I touched the warm stones I returned, this time with tools. Not to destroy, just to understand. I brought a small hand shovel, gloves, a brush like the ones archaeologists use. I didn't tell anyone. It was quiet again. Too quiet. I knelt by the largest stone and began clearing the soil. Just beneath the surface I found something strange. A circular slab, smoother than anything natural like ceramic, but cold as metal. There were no carvings. Just a shallow indentation in the center. I pressed my palm against it. The moment I did, I heard something inside my head. A low, harmonic tone. It wasn't sound, more like a pressure. And I saw a flash, not a memory but a place. Dark sky. Red stars. A structure. Immense, angular, hovering over what looked like a sea of fog. Shapes moved through the mist. Tall, thin. Watching. I pulled my hand away, gasping. The slab had warmed. And in the dirt beside me I found something I still keep to this day, a fragment of black glass. Perfectly triangular. Razor thin. No scratches. Not even under a microscope. I've shown it to geologists. No one can say what it is. One professor in Lviv called it technologically improbable. But I don't need their approval. I know what it is. A key. Part 21. The Message in the Fog. After finding the black fragment, I couldn't stay away from the forest. Something in me had changed. I stopped dreaming in pictures and started dreaming in places. Real places. Places I hadn't visited yet, but recognized. One morning before dawn I followed one of those dreams. There's a ridge north of Haverla where the mist never lifts, not fully. Locals call it Demarka, the smoking ground. Hunters avoid it. Too easy to get lost. I went alone. The fog was thicker than usual. Breathing felt like inhaling cotton. My flashlight barely reached a few meters. But I walked slowly, one step at a time, following a feeling more than a direction. Then, like a curtain parting, the fog cleared in front of me, just a few meters. In that pocket of stillness, I saw something written across the mist. Not carved. Not painted. Suspended. Symbols, geometric, sharp, rotating slightly in place. Like they were projected, but from where? And then, just for a moment, the symbols reassembled themselves into something my mind could read. Point of convergence. Awaiting return. My heart pounded. I reached for my camera, but the lens was fogged, useless. And then everything went white. Not from light, from absence. No horizon. No ground. No sky. Only silence. I woke up 3 kilometers from where I entered. It was midday. I was dehydrated and my boots were caked in ash, though I hadn't passed through any burn zone. And the black shard in my coat pocket? It was warm again. Part 22, The Door That Waits. 2 months after the fog incident, the dreams returned. But this time they were different. No tunnels of light. No abstract visions. I saw a door. Always the same, built into a stone cliff half covered in moss. There were no hinges, no handle. Just a faint glow tracing its outline. A perfect oval, vertical, like the mouth of a cave that had forgotten how to open. I drew it over and over. The shape, the rocks, the slope above it. I didn't know where it was, until one morning I found myself staring at a map of the Pip Ivan Ridge. A section just south of the old observatory. Something clicked. I hiked up 3 days later. Conditions were rough, early snow, biting wind. No trails. Just old instincts in those damn drawings. And then I saw it. Exactly like in the dreams, the door in the cliff. It wasn't glowing, but it was real. Real stone, real moss. I stepped closer, heart pounding. I pressed my palm to it. Nothing happened. But as I turned to leave, I noticed something odd. The snow near the base wasn't melting. It was absent. Like something had kept it from landing. A perfect oval of dry rock surrounded by untouched snow. And just beneath the rock, 3 small symbols carved into the base. They matched the ones I'd seen in the fog. I didn't try to enter. Not yet. Somehow. I knew it wasn't time. Part 23, The Signal Returns. 2 nights after I returned from the ridge, the tones came back. This time not from the radio, from the walls. I had no devices on. No interference. But I heard the tones, clear as bells, vibrating through the wood of my home. 3 notes always the same, low, high, mid. Then silence. Then again. And again. I stepped outside. The sky was cloudless, stars sharp like needles. But something was wrong. No wind. No bugs. Even the dog down the road had stopped barking. Then my phone, an old button model I barely used, lit up. No number. No call. Just a screen flashing white with a single word in all caps. Soon. The phone shut down. Battery drained. Never worked again. Part 24, A Visitor from the Past. The next day I got a knock at the door. A man in his 60s, weathered face, walking stick, heavy coat. He said his name was Mikhailo Korzin. I heard you're looking into the lights, he said without greeting. I nodded. He sat down, pulled off his glove, and showed me something that made my blood run cold. 3 faint burn marks on the inside of his wrist. Same as mine. Same pattern. I saw them too, he whispered. Back in '83. Thought I was alone. He said he'd been part of a geological survey back then. Something happened. Time loss, strange dreams, sickness that no doctor could name. The team disbanded. Some died early. One disappeared. But he said something else. They show the door to more than one of us. But only one is chosen to open it. Then he left. Didn't say goodbye. He hasn't returned. Part 25, The Diary That Wasn't Mine. A week later, I found a notebook on my kitchen table. It wasn't mine. I live alone. No windows were broken. No signs of entry. The notebook was old. Leather cover, pages yellowed, but not fragile. The first page just said, "For the one who remembers." Inside were sketches, dozens. The same shapes I'd been drawing for years. Same forest clearings, same symbols, same door. But the final pages were different. They described a mechanism. A way to resonate with the door. Not through tools, but through frequency of mind. A meditative state. Alignment. Intention. The last line was written in shaking hand. The door responds to those who know it's already open. Part 26, Descent. I returned to the ridge. No hesitation this time. I fasted for a day, just water and stillness as the notebook instructed. Then I climbed. The sky was heavy. Snow threatened. At the door, I placed the black shard into the indentation again, the same one I'd found months before beneath the standing stones. Nothing happened at first. Then the air changed. Thicker. Charged. The outline of the door began to glow, faint, pulsing like breath. And then, without sound, it opened. No gears. No grinding. Just space bending. Behind the stone was a corridor. Smooth. Sloping downward. Lit from nowhere. I stepped inside. Part 27. Inside the structure. The temperature dropped, but I felt no cold. My boots made no sound on the floor. The corridor was narrow, walls seamless. As I walked, I noticed the air didn't move. But I breathed fine. Then the lights began to flicker, not randomly but in patterns. A rhythm. A language. I couldn't understand it, but I felt it in my spine. Like I used to know it. At the end of the corridor, the tunnel opened into a chamber. Octagonal. Empty, except for a pillar in the center. And on it, a projection appeared. Not a screen. Not an image. A memory. Not mine. A forest on fire. A sky full of red lights. Panic. Screams. Silence. Then rebirth. Trees regrowing, light pouring from the earth. A voice, not sound but understanding, filled me. This is not the first cycle.